Well, greetings. This is Trev from onlinepclearning.com. I'm going to show you how to create this expense calculator. It's a very small VBA project, and you'll notice it has a form that enables you to add data to a database, and then that data is automatically calculated for you on this front sheet. So if we were to add the category of fencing, and we wanted then to calculate that that fencing came from Steel Corp and the amount was $354 and it was for steel, we just then add that to our database. If we want, we refresh that and our data now automatically changes for us. You might think this is difficult to do, but really it's not difficult to do. I'll just take you through the things we'll be looking at. We're going to look at dynamic named ranges. Now, we've discussed them in the past and we're going to go back to them again because they are such a powerful tool in working with Microsoft Excel spreadsheets. We'll have a look at the Visual Basic Editor, user forms and the properties of user forms. I'll show you how to make a user forms a little bit colourful if you like that. And then we're going to have a look at recording macros, pivot tables and pivot charts. And simply I'll take you through to show you the setup of this book before we get started, and you can then decide whether you want to continue with this project. So first of all, what we have here is two sheets, one that is a data entry sheet, which is what you're looking at here, and a user form that comes up, has basically three text boxes and two combo boxes and 4 buttons. The categories are from two named ranges over here. I'll just close that up. Two named ranges over here. One is for our store or service, the other is for a category. But now look, you could use this for managing your CDs or whatever you want. I've just chosen this because in reality I did use this. We did a project on our house. We renovated a house that we have, and I used this program or a similar one to this to calculate the expenses for our accountant. And so I could keep a running tab of what each part of that project was costing me. Simply put, it's all driven by a little database in the background here. It's just a list. You don't even need to go here. But I want to show it to you, and that list is populated every time you add a piece of data, and here you go, add entry. The entry is dropped into that list, and then we create pivot tables that are refreshed automatically from this refresh button here. If you want to view the database, you can view it from there, and it's quite a very interesting project and one I think you'll like. All right, well look, it's 2 minutes spent explaining it, but now let's get started in building it. Well, here's our blank workbook. Let's first of all go in, we'll get our third sheet here, and we're going to delete that sheet. We no longer want it. This sheet we're going to call data entry. Do that in one word if you can, or underscore it. And our next sheet we're going to call database. And as you know, just double click on the sheet tab there, and you'll be able to change the name. If you want, you can give your sheet tab some colours. I'm going to do that here, just so you know exactly what's going on with each tab and where you are. Okay, so data entry, database. On our data entry, we're going to put our two lists. So our first list here is going to be store or service. Just give that a bit of room. To actually expand your cell, get your cursor up in the top here and double click it, and it will expand to the size you want. I in fact want that a bit bigger. And our next one in here is going to be category. And again, we'll make that a little bit bigger. Now, just highlight those and format them as you wish. Now, the beautiful thing about this database is that you can add extra items as you want. And you don't have to have them equal. You can have more stores and services than you do categories, or vice versa. And your pivot chart and your pivot table will automatically expand to accommodate those extra services or categories. So now what we're going to do is go in and create two dynamic named ranges for these two lists. Now, a dynamic named range we've discussed several times before. If you're not familiar with it, the link will be on my website to go take you to a tutorial. It'll show you how to create dynamic named ranges. I'll show you how to do it here just very quickly. We'll go to our formula tab. We'll go to our name manager, and we want to go new, and we're going to call this one store. Alright, into here we're going to put our offset formula, our offset function I should say. open brackets, and then we'll make this our starting point. We're not going to offset any rows or columns. We could put 0 in there and 0. We've just left them out. And then we'll use the counter, because we're using counter because we're dealing with text, as you know, from dynamic named ranges. Now select the area you want for the dynamic named range. You could click B and have the whole column. I'm going to just scroll down here, make it a little bit more efficient. I don't think my list is going to be any bigger than that. So that will do me, and we'll close our brackets off and go OK. So there we have a dynamic named range created for our store. Do exactly the same for the categories. Okay, so here we go back to our name manager, and we're going to go new, and we'll call this one category, and we'll create our dynamic named range in here. So just simply go in, once again it's offset, open bracket, our starting cell. We're not going to offset any columns or rows. We use counter again. Very simple dynamic named range here, just one column, and we'll scroll down to a list that will accommodate the length we want. Close it off, and now we have our second dynamic named range created. Okay, right, so we'll leave that now. We'll move on to our database sheet. In our database sheet, we're now going to put the headers, start from maybe cell C5. Now these 4 or 5 headers are the information that's going to come from the user form. They're the data you're going to input into the database. This is what you will be tracking. In fact, we're going to create a named range here as well. But this time we want to include the headers in the named range. So we'll go in and do that just quickly. Into Formulas, Name Manager, we'll go New, and we'll call this Summary. And again, we'll go down here to, it's our offset function. Okay, where are we going to start? Well, we'll start right here. Won't offset any. Counter, open brackets, and then we're going to, this time, click the whole column there, like that. And we'll go close bracket, comma, and what have we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 should be our number. Close brackets, and it should go OK. We'll just see if we've got it all. Yep, our dynamic named range is right across there. So if we start adding data to that, that range will expand or contract with the data we put in. Now while we're still in the formatting mode, let's go to Insert and Shape, and we'll put in a couple of buttons onto our sheet. Just put them up here. There we go. Right click on the button, choose Format Shape, and for where it says Properties down at the bottom, just click Don't Move or Size with Cells and click Close. I'm going to format that shape from the Shape Styles, and we'll add the text here that will be Return to Open, or just Open if you want. Alright, you can then format this accordingly. We'll be using this to generate or to run a little macro that takes us back to the main sheet. Just click on that and copy it. Go back over here to our sheet entry, up the top, click Paste. We'll put another shape in there, and this time just edit the text, right click Edit Text, and we'll call this User Form. Or you can call it maybe Data Entry, whatever you want, it doesn't really matter. We'll go back to the database sheet. I forgot to do something here. On the date sheet there, or on the date column, right click and choose Format Cells. And then when you get into there, choose Date, and now set the format for the date. I'd like this format here with the day, the month, and then the year. You can set it to whatever you want, but format that whole column the same so that our dates are going to show that way. And up here for the amount, just make sure you click the $sign here so that column is formatted for currency. Okay, well, our sheet's set up now, everything's ready to go. You've had a look at the user form, you've had a look at the little database and what it can do. We've now had a look at dynamic named ranges. We've set up our sheets. We're going to have a look at the Visual Basic Editor, the user forms and the macros. And then in our final tutorial we'll drop in the pivot tables. Now this is Trev, thanks for listening, don't miss part 2, will you?